Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Inner West Council. I now declare this meeting open at 6:30 on the 8th of October 2024. My name's Peter Gainsford. I'm the General Manager of the Inner West Council, and I'll be chairing the meeting until the election of the Mayor has been conducted. Firstly, I'd like to invite Uncle Alan Murray from the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Lands Council to perform the Welcome to Country.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you? Come on, guys. Good evening. How are you? Normally, when I do that, in order to appeal to our creator, Biami, we have a creator, and Biami created this land. And it's fitting that we say that. Also, I want to acknowledge it may be in terms of your council, Peter, and I'll put it that way, given that you're chairing this before the election, because I'm the chairperson of the Metropolitan Local Land Council, and we have members' meetings. And saying to Peter, we have very good meetings. But for us, in terms of our council, our demographics, we have something like 40 different clans of Aboriginal people who join my land council. And our council stretches from the Hawkesbury River to the north, south to, I suppose, Georges River, west to Nepean. And within those three mighty rivers, that's the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council. And we straddle something like 26 local governments. We may spend 5 minutes here, but we will spend 20 minutes on the northern beaches because that's where is our majority of our lands. But also I live in Marrickville, I live at Wardell Road. I won't give you my specific address. And I'm just sort of thinking where it is situated. This is where Pemulwuy walked. This is our great creator. Also Patagoran, great Camaragal lady, but also talking about Mosquito, another legendary warrior on the north of Sydney. But also the late Mum Shell, who lived in this area and was there for the justice of social justice for our people. But also I want to pay respects to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. The Gadigal people live in your boundary, in your district. But when it comes to Wongal people, this is their land. This is where the Wongal people stretch from Balmain all the way to Homebush, all the way to Wiley Park. Particularly at Wiley Park, we've still got sacred scar trees there. And we got trees and Aboriginal sites all over the place. And we visit them nearly every second day to make sure those sites are never destroyed. But more importantly, we've now owned Yasma. We now own the old Canterbury Police Station on Canterbury Road. And these are through economic gains that we've done. So we've got a carbon footprint in your council. But most of our members live in your district, in your area. But with the Gadigal people, they've been living in your area since day dot. I'm a King George's baby. I went to Tempe High School, now living in Marrickville. So I've been here for a couple of years and I continue to stay there. I reckon I will retire here. But I think good thing about a walk in the country, normally we would ask you to walk through the smoke to be cleansed. We don't want your stresses. We don't want your evil. All we want is your goodwill. Your goodwill to pay respects and live amongst us, the First Nations people of Australia, because we've been here for thousands of years. Like talking to Peter briefly before the start of this, it means there are a lot of, I suppose, synergies between our relationship as your council and mine and what we do, because I too gone through the election stage and having to wait before you become a chair, because that's what I had to do. But I had to talk to my family and people who support me. And the good thing about being the chairperson of the Metropolitan Local Land Council, and as an Aboriginal man, because my father was a stolen generation, and he was taken away from his parents at the age of 5. And we still got pockets of social justice issues. And I'm really glad, Peter, that you don't have this your event on the failed attempt of the referendum in 2 days' time. That's when the referendum was failed last year. But all those things are very good for us, because I know that you're in good stead. So Welcome to Country is about the relationship to the land, to the people, and the people who are working for the council. And I see that through my council at the Metropolitan Local Land Council. So with that, have a great evening. Please don't swear at one another. Please show the respect and the kindness and the respect when you're doing an engagement like this. So welcome to Gadigal land, welcome to Wongal land, welcome to all the different parts that make up the council. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Uncle Alan. Councillors, are there any apologies for tonight's meeting? I don't think so. We're all full and present. In the spirit of open, accessible, transparent government, council meetings on the Inner West Council will be live streamed on Council's website. The camera will be focused to the front of the chamber, not focused on the public. By speaking at Council, we agree to being recorded and must ensure that any speech is in respectful and appropriate language. A person who uses defamatory, discriminatory or offensive language may be exposed to liability. The Council takes no responsibility. The Mayor and Councillors will be bound by an oath and affirmation of Council to be made tonight to undertake their civic duties in the best interests of the people of the Inner West Council, and to faithfully and impartially carry out functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act or any other act, to the best of their skill and judgment. It is also a requirement that the Mayor and Councillors disclose conflicts of interest in relation to items listed for consideration on the agenda and which are considered at this meeting, in accordance with Council's Code of Conduct and Code of Meeting Practice. Do councillors present have any declarations of interest for tonight? Thank you. I'll now ask everyone to join me in a moment of quiet contemplation. Thank you, everyone. Okay, item 1 on tonight's council agenda is the oath or affirmation by councillors. Under section 233A of the Local Government Act 1993, each councillor at or before the first meeting of the new council is required to take an oath or make an affirmation of office. And this is then required to be formally recorded. Councillors, on your desk in front of you is the oath and affirmation of office. We'll be starting on my left with Councillor Blake, and we will go around the chamber one by one with each councillor to read out loud either the oath or the affirmation, and this will be recorded in the minutes. So thank you, councillors. I'll go to Councillor Blake.
Thank you. I, Councillor Andrew Blake, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of Councillor in the best interests of the people of the Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you. Councillor Taston.
Hello everyone. I, Councillor Ismet Tastan, swear that I will undertake the duty of the office of Councillor in the best interest of the people of Inner West and Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and importantly carry out the functions, power, authorized and discretion vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Taston. Councillor Atkins.
I, Councillor Liz Atkins, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Atkins. Councillor Barlow.
I, Councillor Olivia Barlow, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Barlow. Councillor Antonio.
I, Councillor Isabella Antonou, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Antonio. Councillor Rosidi.
The people of Inner West and Inner West Council, and I will faithfully and impartially carry out functions, powers, authorities, and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my abilities and judgment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rosidi. Councillor Macri.
I, Councillor Victor Macri, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of the Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, the powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any act to the best of my ability and judgment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Macri. Councillor Smith.
I, Councillor Chloe Smith, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Ferguson.
I, Councillor Kerry Ferguson, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Howard.
I, Councillor Matt Howard, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out those functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Howard. Councillor Clay.
Thank you. I, Councillor Vicky Clay, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I'll undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clay. Councillor Scott.
Thank you. I, Councillor Philippa Scott, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of the Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. Councillor Carlisle.
Thank you. I, Councillor Jo Carlisle, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Carlisle. Councillor D'Orenzo.
I, Councillor Jessica D'Arienzo, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor D'Orenzo. Councillor Byrne.
I, Councillor Darcy Byrne, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Inner West and the Inner West Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act of 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Byrne. Can I have on the screen, you'll see, can I have a mover of the motion that's displayed on the screen?
Move that way, General Manager.
Councillor Scott, seconded Councillor Howard. I now put that motion to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those, and I declare the motion carried unanimously. I think that deserves a round of applause for Andy. Thanks, everyone. We'll now move to item 2 on the agenda, which is the election of Mayor and the election of Deputy Mayor in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government Act and regulations. The term of the Mayor is until September 26, 2026, in accordance with Section 231 of the Local Government Act 1993. Before we commence with the elections, it's necessary for Council to determine the method of voting to be used for the election of the Mayor if more than one nomination is received. The second decision to be made is whether Council will elect a Deputy Mayor, and if so, for the length of term for the Deputy Mayor. Council also needs to decide the method of voting to be used and if there is more than one nomination for the position of Deputy Mayor. The term of Deputy Mayor is determined by Council and can be the same length of the mayoral term or a shorter term, which is generally 1 year.
General Manager.
Yes?
I would like to move an amended version of the officer's recommendation, which has been provided to the minute taker earlier, that the method of voting for the election of Mayor be conducted by show of hands, that the Mayor be elected for a period of 2 years from October 24 to September 26, that Council elect a Deputy Mayor for a term from October 24 until September 25, and that the method of conducting the ballot for Deputy Mayor also be show of hands.
Excellent. Do I have a seconder for that?
You do.
Councillor Atkins. I will now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. I declare that carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Now that Council's resolved that the method of voting for the 2024 election be by show of hands, please note that each councillor is entitled to 1 vote for a mayoral candidate per round of voting. In the order which I've received them, I have nominations for the position of Mayor for Councillor Byrne and also for Councillor Atkins. These nominations have been signed by 2 or more councillors for each nominee and has confirmed their consent in writing. Are there any further nominations? In the event of a tie, in accordance with Clause 12 of Schedule 7 of the Local Government General Regulation of 2021, I'll have to write the names of 2 candidates on similar slips of paper, fold them and place them in a box to be chosen by lot and request a staff member shake the box. The candidate's name in this event drawn out would be declared the Mayor. I will now put the mayoral nominees to vote in the order I've received them. The first mayoral nominee is Councillor Byrne. Would those councillors voting for Councillor Byrne please raise your hand? I have Councillor Byrne, D'Orenzo, Councillor Carlisle, Councillor Scott, Councillor Clay, Councillor Howard, Councillor Ferguson and Councillor Smith, Councillor Macri and Councillor Rashidi. The second mayoral nominee is Councillor Atkins. With those councillors voting for Councillor Atkins, please raise your hand. I have Councillor Blake, Councillor Tastan, Councillor Atkins, Councillor Barlow and Councillor Antonio. I declare, so that is 9, sorry, how good's my maths? 10 votes to 5. So I now declare Councillor Byrne, sorry there was a pause, Councillor Byrne, is elected as the Mayor for the Inner West Council until September 2026.
Thanks very much, Peter, and I don't hold it against you for trying to steal the vote off me. I want to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land and by paying respect to their elders, both past and present. And as has been mentioned, this is in the same week as the anniversary of the loss of the referendum, which the view of this council, as represented by our unanimous resolutions in the last term, I'm sure that will be reaffirmed now. That was a huge lost opportunity. We had a chance to finally come to a just and respectful settlement between First Nations people and Australian society as a whole. Our council actually resolved as the first act of the last term to incorporate the Uluru Statement from the Heart into our community strategic plan as the philosophical basis of our relationship with local Aboriginal people. And on behalf of the newly elected council, I want to recommit this organisation to saying that we won't give up on justice for Indigenous people in this country. I do want to thank my kids who are in the back there and had to do quite a few street stalls and various campaigning activities, and I appreciate that you got up so early in the morning all of that time, and thank you for all of the support that you've given me, and to my partner Claudia, who's here tonight. I want to thank her as well for her support right throughout the campaign and in our lives generally. And I really want to express my gratitude and thanks to the whole of the Inner West Labor Caucus, by which I mean both the outgoing councillors who are all here tonight, and I want to acknowledge Zoe Sardoulias and Mark Drury and Tim Stevens. You won't meet three better people than them, and they made an enormous contribution to this community over the last 2 3/4 years. And I do want to say that in my biased opinion, our team is the best team in local government in this country. And I want to congratulate Councillor Carlisle, Councillor Clay and Councillor Ferguson on their election here tonight, as well as all of the other new councillors elected and those who are returning as well. Could I ask you to give them a round of applause? We think we're building something pretty special here. Everybody knows about the Inner West community. It's got the richest human capital of any community in this nation. It's an amazing array of talents, people who are committed to all sorts of different causes. We like to think of the Inner West as the engine room of progressive politics in this country, because we're always working, I don't mean the council, I mean the citizens, always working on new ideas to meet contemporary problems that Australia is facing, and often we're the ones who are first to put those forward, even when they're unpopular at the start. And I think what we've built over the last few years here at the council is a local government that can match the people that it represents. And I want to begin by saying that it's my intention, I'm sure it's the case for everybody here, that there will be a relationship of mutual respect between the elected representatives and the officers of the council. I also want to say that we are deeply committed to making sure that this council is both progressive and effective. We know that we have responsibility for important services, for basic services that people depend upon, and we have to meet those responsibilities. But we also have a role in representing the community's philosophy, which is that we do want to see the country change for the better. And I'm determined that, having been re-elected as Mayor of the Inner West, that we will continue to make sure that the Inner West is an exemplar for how you can conduct local government in this country. All of us are committed to making sure that the Inner West Council is as good as the community it serves. And I want to say to the people who are here tonight, we won't let you down. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. As Council resolved that the method of voting for the 2024 elections will be by show of hands, please note that each councillor is entitled to one vote for the Deputy Mayor candidate per round of voting. I will now conduct the election for Deputy Mayor. In the order I've received them, I have nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor for Councillor Howard and Councillor Antonio. Are there any further nominations? All right. The first nominee is Councillor Howard. With those councillors voting for Councillor Howard, please raise your hand. Councillor Byrne, Councillor Di Lorenzo, Councillor Carlisle, Councillor Smith, Scott, Councillor Clay, Councillor Howard, Councillor Ferguson, Councillor Smith, Councillor Macri and Councillor Rossetti. That is 10 votes. Who said I can't improve on things? The second nominee is for Councillor Antonio. With those councillors voting for Councillor Antonio, please raise your hand. I have Councillor Blake, Councillor Taston, Councillor Atkins, Councillor Barlow and Councillor Antonio. That's 5 votes. I declare that Councillor Howard is elected as Deputy Mayor for the Inner West Council until September 2025. Congratulations. I'll hand back to the Mayor.
I'll just invite the newly elected Deputy Mayor to make some remarks.
Thank you, Mayor, and congratulations to you on your election. I, of course, acknowledge too that we are meeting on the lands of the Gadigal Wangal people of the Eora Nation, and I pay my respect to elders past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today. I want to sincerely thank my colleagues for their support to take on this role, and thank Councillor Antonou for standing as a candidate. I want to congratulate all the councillors on their election or re-election, and I look forward to working together over the years ahead. I also want to acknowledge my family, my mum and dad, my husband Mitz and my kids, one of my sons Riley is here today, for all their support. None of us could do this without the support and love of our families, and I really lucked out on mine. But it isn't just luck, it's a lot of love and sacrifice, and I will do you proud in this term, and I will every day work harder to show that love and sacrifice for you also in all of your pursuits. Having the opportunity to serve as your Deputy Mayor is an honour and a responsibility that I do not take lightly. Of course, I have had the benefit of watching 3 extraordinary women do this before me, not least of which Councillor Chloe Smith. Thank you, Councillor Smith, for your hard work and your diligence, for your tenacity and your passion in the pursuit of key policies to benefit the Inner West, including support for renters and for meaningful housing affordability. And I want to thank you for your collegiality and friendship. You've left really big shoes to fill, and I'm going to do my level best to follow your example. So I just wanted to say 2 things about representation. I think it's important to acknowledge tonight that the Inner West has done an extraordinary thing. We have increased the number of women and non-binary folk here in this chamber. It's powerful and it's important. And I'm so grateful to have the support to fulfill this role for this year from the women who are sitting alongside me. I'm also proud to have supported 3 exceptional women to be the Deputy Mayor of the Inner West in the last term, and I will proudly be supporting 3 exceptional women to be the Deputy Mayor in each of the subsequent years of this term. I'm also humbled to be the 2nd queer person to have been elected Deputy Mayor of the Inner West Council, and I note we have increased representation of LGBTQIA+ councillors in the chamber too. Now, while it may seem unremarkable that an LGBTQIA+ person is elected to be Deputy Mayor in 2024 in the Rainbow Republic of the Inner West, it remains a fact that LGBTQIA+ representation across Australia remains rare. When I was growing up in country New South Wales, I could never have imagined that I'd one day be here, being elected Deputy Mayor, serving a community I love, surrounded by the people I love. I think it's fair to say that in some of my darker moments, I probably didn't imagine that I'd be here at all. I grew up in a time when being gay still wasn't something you talked about, when being gay was still considered something to be ashamed of. It was a life sentence to loneliness or worse. But I know that when I was younger, seeing other LGBTQIA+ people thrive was critical for me, critical to help me better understand who I was, to better appreciate the others who were like me, and to have a greater sense of purpose as to what I could give back. I hope that in the next year, I can show young queer people in our community and beyond that they can achieve whatever they want just by being who they are, that positivity, patience, and kindness matter and are important qualities in leadership, and that when we work together, we can achieve extraordinary things. I also hope to make the people of Marrickville, St Peters, Sydenham, and Tempe proud. We Southsiders are a resilient, creative, and passionate bunch, and we have big ideas about how we can shape the Inner West. I look forward to being an even stronger voice for you on council in this new role. I just conclude by noting that I'm wearing an extra 10 kilos tonight. I'm wearing this vest because I'm participating in the Lift the Load Challenge for the Top Blokes Foundation. October is Mental Health Month, and I'm wearing this vest as a symbol of how we can all do our little bit to share the burden of poor mental health. The challenge raises funds for mentoring for young boys and men, including here in the Inner West. And I was encouraged to take part because one of the organisers of the group was doing some mentoring at Marrickville High School and walked by when we were at pre-poll and asked me if I would participate, and explained that he was doing work at Marrickville High School because they've had a tough time at the school recently. And I couldn't help but be really taken by how important that work is. And so I'm wearing this vest for all of October, and I have a QR code on the back of my phone. If you'd like to donate, come and find me afterwards. I'd really encourage you to support this important cause. So I sincerely and humbly thank councillors for their support, and will do my darndest to do you proud.
Okay, we have one more item on the agenda tonight, which is to determine how council would fill a casual vacancy on this term. There's two options available to us. We've got a recommendation from the council officers for the fulfilment of a casual vacancy to be conducted by count-back method, which, for the benefit of the public gallery, essentially means that we use the results of the election to count back to the next available candidate. The alternative to that is a by-election, which costs all of you a lot of money. The recommendation of officers is that we adopt, is displayed on the screen, and it is that we adopt the count-back method. I don't think I need to read that out. Is anyone who requires that to be recited? No. Is there a mover for that motion?
Move that way, Mr Mayor.
Moved by councillor Scott. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Seconded.
Seconded by councillor Atkins. If there's no discussion, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Does that conclude the business? Okay, before I declare the meeting closed, I'd like to invite all of the citizens here tonight to join us downstairs on the ground floor in the Ashfield Civic Centre for some celebratory refreshments. Thank you very much for coming along tonight to participate in this democratic event. I'll declare the meeting closed.